Hey, happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic and not so scary Wednesday. My name is Jade Alberts, and I'm a business strategist influencer, and my passion is helping small businesses succeed and grow. Sharing knowledge and stories is why I started telling it like it is. So if you have any questions during the broadcast, please ask them. If you're watching this after the broadcast, please post any comments, and we will be sure to get back to you. I'd like to thank Rogers Insurance for being a sponsor. They supply the human approach to assurance. I highly recommend giving them a call. Someone will answer the phone and they'll direct you to the right person. More on that a little later. But today's guest is Andrew Goodwin of Cabin Radio. Andrew, thank you for joining me. And how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Now, I guess I hear you guys won an award. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, we did. It was about 2 weeks ago now. The Yellowknife Chamber of Commerce was issuing awards, or we were nominated for Breakout New Business, and we won.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was a little unexpected. I wish I had a speech prepared, but whatever. We're in radio. I guess we'll figure it out.
Hey, well, that's anytime you're recognizing your community by the chamber, that's a big honor. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Andrew, he's a general manager of Cabin Radio. Cabin Radio started with a group of 5 guys over a couple of beers. Each guy at the table was previously involved with radio or some form of business. And at the time everyone was done eating, they determined that they should start a radio station in Yellowknife. It's been about 3 years since they started, countless hours of work, but they really felt the community needed one and a local option for news and radio. With the combined efforts of their team and an overwhelming amount of support from volunteers and community, they did it. Yellowknife and Northwest Territories means a great deal, as it does to many others who share unique quirks and characters of your home and with the world. It's pretty amazing. I've listened to it. It's awesome. You are the only person I know personally that started a radio station. So there's a brief little description on why you started, but it's got to be a little more to that story.
Uh, well, I'm the only one. The five of us are the only ones we know who started a radio station too, so you're not alone. It kind of came. Oh, it really is as simple as that. I was looking for something else to take on. I was really interested in business. Looking for sort of an opportunity in Yellowknife because that's where I live right now, and I love this place. It's where all my friends are, and it's just a great little town. So, looking for something in this town, and I thought, well, there's a bit of a gap in the radio community. We've only really got one variety station. There's a couple. We have CBC up here. We have an Aboriginal station. So there's just a bit of a gap for local news and entertainment. So I originally looked at maybe going to school for radio. And then I started asking around. Being a small town, you know a lot of people with a lot of skills. And I started asking around and sitting down with people and saying, hey, what would it take to start a radio station? Do you think it would be viable? What would I need to do? And a lot of the people that I talked to actually said, well, Ollie Williams has also asked me these questions. I went, interesting. I used to play soccer with Ollie. So Ollie and I sat down and he said, well, actually, in my previous job, there's 3 other people that are also interested. I went, okay, great. So we all sat down at the bar just to kind of hang out and talk about what we've all been discussing with other people.
Yeah.
And honestly, by the end of that evening, we all just kind of said, okay, let's start a radio station with no clear direction or tools to do so. But it all starts with a decision to do it. So here we are.
Well, that's quite interesting. I mean, this is new territory for me. I mean, I know a lot of people that have started up businesses. I've had quite a few on the show that, have been 1, 2, 3 months old. Are there any different struggles or trials and tribulations that you went through, compared to another business? Did you talk to other businesses before this? Share some of your stories there.
Yeah, there's a lot of trials and tribulations for sure. Mainly because there's no real How to Start a Radio Station in the Arctic for Dummies book, which I really wish there was. So it was a lot of just figuring out where do we start, and then once you get past step one, what is step two, and how do we do it? So it was a lot of really starting from scratch, which is a shame. You know, we have a lot of people that are successful business people with a lot of knowledge, but unfortunately, when it comes to something so niche, it was hard to get some really direct insight. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I asked a lot of people, yourself included, for some business advice, just in general, which helps. I mean, every little bit of information that came across the board, whether we used it or not, was super, super helpful. But basically, money was a tough one. For those of you who don't know, there's not a great deal of money in radio. There potentially can be, but when you're working at a radio station, usually you're not rolling in the big bucks. So a lot of us in this group didn't really have a whole lot of capital to start up with. So we applied for grants and funding and things like that. We got shut down. We got a lot of doors in our face. I shouldn't say a lot. We got a few big doors slammed in our face, and then eventually we had some success and got some loans. So that was huge once you get the money, mainly because when you're starting a radio station, I mean, technically you can do it with a laptop and a mic, but we wanted to really make a real go at this. So there's a lot of equipment involved, very expensive equipment. So capital was a big one. The next one was how do we not get in trouble by doing this? So music regulations, we thought, okay, well, how do you do this? And actually people have a lot of questions about that. You know, how can you just play music all day? Like, how do you pay for that? Basically two groups in Canada that deal with copyright. And one of them is just sort of an annual fee. And then another is per song. So you pay, per song basically, and then quarterly fee. So it took a lot longer to figure out than we thought it would. But we figured it out. So we're good. No one don't sue us. We're good. Another one was, well, we started originally FM. The idea from the get-go was FM, mainly because Yellowknife is kind of an older town, and that was the market we want to be in is FM radio. We quickly realized that the process to do that is long, expensive. So someone in the group had the idea of doing online. It was, we were a little skeptical, but once we started looking into it and really thinking about it, the whole world's going online. I mean, I don't have cash in my wallet right now because I don't need it. I just tap my wallet on something and I paid for it. So literally everything is going towards more of a technology route and online. So that was kind of where we landed on that. And we're still online right now. And we're getting, we've had a lot of success with it, mainly through social media. So before we even launched, we had social media kind of take off. So we had a big following when we launched. So that was, and then now that we're kind of established, we're looking towards that FM route. But and last was probably space. Just where do you put a radio station? You know, we had the name Cabin Radio before anything. Actually, it was either shack radio or cabin radio. There's a lot of shacks and there's a lot of cabins in the north, so it was a toss up. But cabin radio kind of had a nice ring to it. So
it's a good name. Yeah,
thank you. So obviously, our first thought was, well, let's see if we can find a cabin. We'll do it out of a cabin, right? And that wasn't very viable for many reasons, soundproofing, power, and things like that. We even had the idea to do it out of a houseboat at one stage. We have a houseboat community here in Yellowknife. We thought, well, that'd be pretty cool. A couple of guys weren't too keen about canoeing to work every morning, so that was kind of fun. And we looked at a lot of different options. You know, no one had really looked into business spaces and things like that. So we landed on this great spot. We're right downtown. It's small. It's exactly the size we need, so we're not paying a whole lot of money to be here, but it's exactly what we need. So those were kind of the main difficulties when we were getting going.
Yeah, those are some interesting trials and tribulations to overcome. But I guess before we go to the next question here, Josh Penner asked a question here, and you can kind of see it. How is the local business support for advertising?
Local support in general has been crazy, like almost overwhelming. Between the five of us, we know a lot of people in this town.
Yeah.
So we expected, I shouldn't say expected, we foresaw some support coming our way for sure. Everyone was just really supportive in general. But the people we have never met before, politicians, well-known business owners, they all were so supportive and just happy that they had a new outlet for news, entertainment, a wide variety of music, and just something that they felt was their own. So the businesses kind of thought the same thing. When it comes to advertising, well, first of all the support gained a huge following. So we've got great numbers for who we're reaching, and locally too, right? I mean, because we're online, we can go in and say, well, this many people in the NWT are listening to us right now. They watch, they follow our Facebook group. So we have all these metrics that really show that the local people are paying attention to us. So that is starting to catch the attention of a lot of local businesses because it's just so measurable. And yeah, they've been really, really supportive. I mean, we have a couple companies that just do things for us. We give them some advertising, and they just want to keep giving to us. They just want to keep supporting the business. So Yellowknife, they stepped up for sure. We wouldn't be here without every single person in this community.
Oh, that's awesome. That is great. And thank you, Josh, for that question. I guess that kind of goes into my next question for you is, I guess with you being up north, like you said, in the Arctic, were there any, other issues that you had setting up a radio station?
Besides the cold walk to the bar for our meetings every week, not really. There's a bit of an older audience in the north. Radio is still very, I won't say relevant. I mean, people listen to radio all the time, mainly in your vehicle, right? Your commute to work, your commute home. That's usually when you're listening to the radio.
Yeah.
Up here, I mean, every job site, every warehouse, we're very industrial. We're a mining town. Every government office is listening to the radio, and you don't have a whole lot of options. So FM radio was a very, very important thing up here. So when you go online, when you try and tell, 55-year-old construction worker that you just download an app and listen to it on your phone, wasn't as well received as we would have liked, but even then, some of those people have turned around. We changed the way we send out our streams so that government offices can listen online, and so that's an ongoing struggle right now, is to get those people that are just listening to it as background music, which is totally fine, to start to adopt the online for now until we can make that transition. But the other thing would probably be the population. There's 19,000, 20,000 on a good day in Yellowknife. There's about 44,000 in the whole NWT. So that's not a whole lot of people, especially when you're looking at businesses advertising, right? You're not, but with online, on the flip side of that, we can reach the whole NWT. If we were FM, we can only reach a certain capacity. Like right now, the FM station, the popular FM station is Yellowknife and Hay River. So we can reach the whole NWT and the world, really. My mom listens to us in Australia. My aunt in Scotland. We have a couple listeners, steady listeners, might I add, in Texas.
Wow.
No one knows who they are. They just found us on Google one day and they listened to us, which is great. The fact that we can appeal to someone in Texas and they can regularly listen in to our stream and read our news, which is even funnier. That's a pretty cool thing. So you
need to track them down and ask them why they're listening to Cabin Radio.
Invite them up. Yeah, exactly. Bring them on up.
Well, have him on the morning show.
Yeah. We should track them. It's I don't know. Texans are hard to track down.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. So I guess what's next for Cabin Radio?
Well, FM is the
Yeah.
next step. So now that we've kind of got ourselves established, we've got a bit of a following. We've kind of come into our own as a radio station, so we know what our sound is. We know who our audience is. We really kind of starting to figure it out. So we have hired a consultant who deals with the CRTC. So for those of you who don't know, CRTC is the governing body of radio and television in Canada. So it really comes down to them. So this is that big process that deterred us from FM originally. You got to go through this long process. It's about 18 months, 2 years. There's a lot of money involved, a lot of engineering involved. And that's just to fill out the application if you're going to do it correctly. And then you can put in that application and it can get denied. Simple as that. So, we're spending the money, we're spending the time. We're not rushing things. We're just making sure we get this right the first time so that we can get in. And you also need to kind of argue your case. You need to prove to the CRTC that there's a spot in the market to be filled and that you can responsibly do that and do a good job at it. So there's a lot involved in this application, but right now the big focus is that FM application.
Nice.
After that, who knows, maybe some remote stations across the north. I know Nunavut doesn't have much in the way of radio. So that might be a market we look to have a little remote cabin radio, train people up in Nunavut. The whole idea of this is local, let the people determine what they want to hear. Simple as that, really. So if we can train people up in Nunavut and set everything up for them and make sure they're all good to go and let them do their own thing, then perfect. They can let their own community know what they want to hear.
No, absolutely. And the way you started it is just perfect, right? Watching your cash flow, making sure that you do the little things right, finding out that there is a market by going online and then expanding from there. That's just such a good business plan. And I'm actually very proud of you guys for doing something like that. It's not easy. That's for sure. So
appreciate it. Yeah. It means a lot coming from you.
Yeah, I guess the last question I have is I ask for everybody. I'm sure all this is fresh in your mind. I guess if you had one tip for any entrepreneur, solopreneur, or small business, what would it be?
Oh, geez. Don't let them see you cry. Yeah. You know what? Don't fear failure. I guess it might be my biggest advice. It is scary. I'm lucky enough that I have 4 amazing business partners that put a lot of work in. And without them, I don't know, I'd be a mess. I'd be curled up in the corner shaking right now, but don't fear failure. Yeah. We've hit a lot of roadblocks. There's always someone less equipped to start a business that is probably more successful than you out there somewhere. So that gets me to sleep at night, knowing that someone who knows less than me can be doing better. So, hey, that's great. If they can do it, I can do it. And ask lots of questions. I phoned around to family, friends I hadn't talked to in a couple of years. And I just said, hey, remember me? I know you've done really well in business. Jade, yourself, I know I reached out to you a couple of times and just ask questions. There's no shame in that. Starting a business is kind of like being a parent where no one knows what they're doing until you have a kid and you figure it out. And, somehow these kids don't grow up to be jerks and, hey, you did it. So that's, don't fear failure. You're going to trip, you're going to fall, but keep plugging away. Keep working hard and you'll be fine.
Oh, and that's great advice. And you, again, you guys did it the right way and that's why you build a network. That's why you go out to, have coffee meetings or have beers with people and then you're able to reach out and in the small business community, the entrepreneurship community, everybody is willing to help, and sharing that knowledge and learning that knowledge and listening to that knowledge is priceless. So good on you guys. And you guys, it's such a great startup story and I'm sure it's going to succeed. And I look forward to following you guys grow as the years roll by.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's exciting times ahead. So
Perfect. Well, again, thank you, Andrew, for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you're always on the go up there, coaching volleyball and trying to play squash and work out and all the things and work. You've got to fit work in sometimes. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And sharing your story. So again, thanks again. And to anybody, a special thanks to Roger Insurance. If they're really supportive of small businesses, go to www.rogersinsurance.ca/Jade to get some special discounts. And again, thank you for listening. I hope everybody has a happy, safe Halloween. Take care. Thanks again, Andrew.
Thanks, Jade.